Hi everybody.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome to this fourth webinar. Today we're going to talk about how to make a responsive typeface using Prototypo in your workflow. So we'll be really more focused on how to integrate the app in your current workflow and showing you step by step how to create your responsive typeface.
And using variable fonts.
Using variable fonts, right.
That's it.
So I'm Hugo, graphic and type designer at Prototypo.
I'm Luca, also graphic and type designer here at Prototypo.
And I'm Alexis, developer at Prototypo. I will introduce you how to use variable fonts in the web application at the end of the live.
Okay, cool. So let's begin by the design that we are gonna do today.
Maybe we can, yeah.
So there it is. Here we're gonna start to design one of these fonts. So as you can see, this is the responsive font. So the first version is the wider for the big screen. The second version is the condensed version for the tablets. And the last version is the ultra condensed for the smartphones.
So we decided to design 3 different variants, and the idea is that we always want the title to be as big as possible and as impactful as possible. So that's why we decided to change the design and change it and to make something narrower. And this way we can keep something very bold and something very compact that fits the size of the screen.
That's it. So today we're gonna design this one, the middle one.
Starting from the
extended version, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So let's go to it.
So we start from the app, from Prototypo, with the extended version we already designed.
Yeah.
And we are going to show you how to make a new variant from this one.
So I'm not going to enter in the details of the application. For this, you can see our previous webinar.
They are available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and on Facebook page. Right.
So today I'm gonna just go straight into the design. So let's go. So here we are.
Could you explain the process?
Most of the time in Prototypo, I or we work in the first time with the settings, the sliders here. And you can see the 4 tabs here. We started with them, and after that we adjust with the manual editing. That is the option that you can move the points, etc., etc.
So the idea is to get the right proportion, the right thickness of the typeface, and then we just refine the shapes manually.
Yeah, we go deep more in the details. That's the thing. So you go generally and then more in the details. So the first step here is to work with the X height. So I'm just gonna increase the X height. Nothing particular, but just to reach 890.
It's a good way to condense your design without changing too much the shapes.
Yeah, and also decrease a bit the width. Since what you call 2.3, yeah. After that, I'm just gonna increase a bit the thickness to compensate a bit about the extended version. So the thickness is here. As you can see, I'm at the top of my slider here, but I can just type the value here in this little area here. So what I need is 200. So I just type 200, and then the thickness appears. And the next step is creating a group. So you have the option to create an individualization group. So this is what I'm gonna do. So here I'm just make a group for the M and the R to work on the thickness of this letter. especially on this letter. So I just
As you can see here, since we changed the thickness globally, the M and the R are a bit dark, so therefore we use the groups to just correct that optically, as Luca is doing.
so this is very few details, but it's also important. So next step is to make another group for all the letters. So the next letters are the G and the I, and this time it will be on the width. Yeah, like this. So G and I. Save the change, and now if I just
You want
work
to
with
change the width?
yeah,
Okay.
these only two letters will be impacted by this. So this is one like 78. Yeah, nice. Now I'm gonna deep in the detail with the manual editing. So here the first step is to move this stroke here. So I'm gonna change a bit the shape of this, just like this. And after that, I'm just gonna change a bit the contrast of the letter. So here, a bit more like I prefer use the keyboard to work with Prototypo because it's more accurate to me. So now I'm just move like units per unit with the arrow, and if I press Shift and I use the arrow, it's 10 units by 10 units. And that's the.
So now you just move 10 units down.
So now it's 10 units down to bring a bit more black and a bit more the contrast here. So 10 units here too, and then 10.
The idea is to match the counter shape of the P.
Yeah.
To have the same element of white inside the letter.
Okay, have a bit of correcting this. Okay, and now a bit more of the contrast on the P2. So as I did on the R, it's 10 units here and 10 units on the bottom, just like this. Hop, chop, chop, perfect. Maybe here, no. Just like this, and I just need here to change a bit my design to bring it a bit down, to have a counterpoint a bit more whiter.
And at the bottom of the P, you can see that we have a lot of white space, so we want to balance this white space, and that's why we change that.
Yeah, this is why we get a bit down.
Then you're
Okay.
changing the M, right? Because
then I'm changing the I. Yeah,
Okay.
This is more about the contrast of the I. So here I'm gonna, like the R and the P, you're gonna just add more black here. So here it's more about 30 units, something like that. Yep. And here a bit too on the bottom. It's more about 10 units on the bottom. It's just a story of balance. Your eye will do the job. And here, just the balance.
you
of
want to
the-
center optically the crossbar.
crossbar. Yeah. So here I'm not bad. Now I'm just gonna work on the M. So as you can see, the M is very black. As we condense it, here it's a bit wide and black, and it's a mess. Mass even. So I'm gonna just decrease a bit these strokes here, and then also the same thing here. Yeah, just like that. And here you can move this a bit here and here. Yeah. I think it's okay. What do you think of it?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, and now last steps is on the letter. So as you can see here, as we condense a bit the typeface, the J had a little bit accident, but it's no problem. So I just need to move this point here to get my curve back. Okay, and here the same thing. The idea is to have the handle on the line and never with the angle.
It should be aligned if you want to have a smooth curve.
Here you can see that I have a smooth curve. Same thing here. I just want to move a bit this point over there, and then a bit this handle in, like this. It's very a few modification, but that's do the job. Okay, yeah, what do you think?
I think it's we're almost there, but you can always refine the shapes. Okay, now it seems to be good.
Yeah, it seems to be good. I just need to add a bit more black in the crossbar here. So the same thing, 10 units, it's fine to maintain
the thickness,
the
overall.
thickness overall. And the last step, the last but not least, is to
work on the spacing.
work on the spacing. It's a very important thing that you can find here in the setting. So as you can see, it's very low, but we are gonna take it lower.
Since we want very compact lettering,
Yeah.
it's very useful to work with the spacing.
It's more about 68, something like that. Yeah, okay. And as you can see, some of the letters are not very well managed. But, for example, here it's touching, so it's not very good.
You can
So-
then refine your spacing manually.
So here you have this green line here, green line part, sorry, and I can just move them to make more space between the letters. So here a bit more like this, a bit more on the R, obviously, and a bit more on the P to not touch the I. This is fine, and a bit more on the eye. Okay, I think we're good. So the final step now, I'm pretty happy with my design. And the last step is to export.
the font.
So I just export the font normally, as you can do in Prototypo. And so as you can see, all the design are here. So the first design was the extended version.
For large screen users.
Large screen users, yeah.
We just worked on the condensed one,
condensed
which is
version.
for tablets.
Yeah. This is the
And we
condensed
have
one.
then the ultra condensed
Ultra
for
condensed.
smartphones.
That's it. Okay.
So
now,
now we exported all three masters that we get OTFs from. We need to open them in Glyphs app. So we just open the Glyph like this.
okay, path.
And now you see the interface of Glyphs with all three masters we just imported. And what you need to do now is go in the font info button here. And it opens this menu with different tabs. You need to go to the first tab, which is the font one. And we just added an axis here that is called width that you can find here. So you can change the width, but it could be a variable font for the weight, for the italic, for optical sizes. So here it's the width axis.
Yeah.
And now you see in the three masters we imported, you have in proportions the width axis here. With values you have to set yourself. So we need to have the right values that should be different from each master. So the extended bold, it's 7, so it's the widest master. Condensed, it's 3, so it's the middle one. And ultra condensed, it's 1, which is the most condensed master. Now we are good with these values. We just go in instances, where we create 3 different instances, having exactly the same values. So for the extended 7, 3, and 1. So this is all fine and ready to be interpolated. Now there's also something important when you are working on your font. You need to make sure that all the structure points are compatible. So if you check your P, for example, you need to make sure you have the same number of points, the same number of handles,
and the same type
and
of
the
points,
same
yeah.
type of points. So since it's all good for us, we just go in File,
Exporting.
to export, and here you have different types of export, and you go in the variation fonts, and you can see that it creates an OpenType variable font.
fonts. So this is the trick.
So it exports
You're using variable fonts to make a responsive
fonts.
Yeah.
Right. For responsive fonts, you need to use variable fonts technology.
This is why Prototypo is a bit stronger for this, because you can make quickly different variation of the font, and then export them and switch in Glyph, and in Glyph you can make those variable font to use after that in a responsive font. This is the
that's why it's really a key app in your workflow that allows you to create variants very, very quickly in order to have different masters for your variable font. So you see now what I get is a TTF file,
2JX,
and we're going to use a very good small website which is Axis Praxis. And Axis Praxis is to test your variable fonts. You just need to drag and drop your font, as I'm going to do here. And now you can see, so it should be here.
Yeah, just drag and drop here. Yeah.
Like this.
So here
So
we
that's
see,
the font we created.
We see our design here.
And if you check here, we have one slider, which is the width as we defined. So you have 7 for the extended master. If I go with number 3, it should be the condensed one we just made. And the step 1, it's the ultra condensed one. And if you check in between, you have your interpolated fonts.
They automatically create the instance between the steps.
Exactly. So now we know that our variable font is working smoothly and perfectly. Alexis is going to show you how to use this variable font with the CodePen.
So, yeah, just in there. So we have made this little CodePen that you can use and modify in any way you want. We're going to share the link after this live. So with the very little code, you have a basic text that we're going to modify. So we apply the font face CSS to load the font we just created. So this link is the variable font we hosted somewhere. So you can change it and use your own instead. Yeah, because you can host your fonts where you want. Finally. Yeah. You just need a server and you host your file somewhere and you can use the URL to load it in any page. So this is the main thing to load your typeface here. So you load the font with this little source property. You name your font, which is Grimpé in this example, and we applied it on the text using this property. So now the JS is really the main part of the code. It's what we are going to use to make the font change.
responsive.
Yeah, instead according to the side of the window. So we have this this base screen which we are going to use as a default value. So I think this is the default value of the font.
Yeah.
And we made this little function that is going to calculate the new size of the font according to the size of the window. So we made with basic math. We are going to change the ratio of the font. So we can see here is 7, which is the last step.
Okay.
And according to the screen, it will change between 0 and 7.
So 7 is the maximum
Yeah,
that you can do.
The maximum,
Okay.
yeah. And if the screen is even larger, it will
It will be 7
Yeah.
as well.
a bit more than
A bit
7.
more?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we calculate the width and then the font size, so we can change both when we change the size. And the main part of the CSS is the properties font variation settings, which is the property you change to involve the CSS variables properties, and the font size as usual. So with this little code, we can see that if we change the window, the font is going to change according to its size.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a minimum and a maximum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with this little math, it's just you can change it if you want to with your own font if the values are different. And the main part of the code also is this little lines of code, which is actually listening to the resize of the window event and calling the function. The function is called every time the window change to change the size of the font.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So with this little example, you already have the changing font you want, and you just have to change this the hosting part and
And
Nice.
the parameter you want to change, if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the width or
The thickness,
the
or
thickness
maybe
or-
X height, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Okay, cool. Thank you, Alexis,
No
for
problem.
that explanation. So I think that's it. Let's go back to ahead. Yeah. So thank you guys for this webinar.
we,
We
hope
hope
it was
it was
clear for
helpful,
you.
And helpful. So do not hesitate if you have any requests, questions, or thoughts about it. You can just write in the commentary section. And of course, we make the code and the Axis Practice website available for you in the commentary section. And so do not hesitate to write us.
Yeah, if you want more explanation on the code or
Yeah,
anything.
Alexis is here. You
Yeah,
can
no
you
problem.
can explain, no problem. And
And if you want to have more detail
Sure.
for Prototypo app, just watch our previous webinars
That you can
where we
find,
go more into details
of
on
the application, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, guys. We hope it was helpful, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Cheers.